is the Adventist World Radio, the voice of hope. The following program is in Tagalog on 11,870 kilohertz.
Isang palatuntunang masayang nagsasabing si Kristo'y muling darating. Tiyak na darating at malapit nang dumating. Kaya't kaibigan, umanda kang siya'y sa bubungin.
Ang palatuntunan ito ay inihahatid ng Adventist World Radio. Kaibigan, mahal ka ng Diyos. Ano man ang iyong kalagayan, ano man ang iyong karanasan, magtuwal sa Kanya.
Aming Panginoong Jesus. Amen.
Maraming salamat sa iyong pakikinig. Sana'y nakinabang ka sa ating mga pag-aaral. Ating itutuloy ang mga paksang nasimulan sa susunod nating pagtatagpo sa ganito ring oras at himpilan. Muli ka naming inaanyayahan na makipag-ugnayan sa amin sa anumang katanungang nais mong iparating. Gayon din kung nagnanais kang magkaroon ng mga libreng aklat at mga aralin sa Biblia. Sumulat ka lamang sa Tinig ng Pag-asa, P.O. Box 401, Manila, Philippines. Tinig ng Pag-asa, P.O. Box 401, Manila, Philippines. Maaari ka ring mag-email sa tinig@awr.org. tinig@awr.org. O magpadala ng mensahe sa ating Facebook account, facebook.com/AWR Luzon, Philippines. facebook.com/AWR Luzon, Philippines. Maaari ka rin mag-text sa Globe 0917-1742-777. 0917-1742-777. At sa Smart, 0968-8536-607. 0968-8536-607. At upang ma-download ang mga hindi napakinggang programa, magtungo lamang sa ating website, www.awr.org. www.awr.org. Sa mga kababayan nating nasa Estados Unidos, maaari nyo na rin mapakinggan sa inyong mga cellphone ang ating programa. Idaya lamang ang 712-432-9975. 712-432-9975. Ito pong muli ang iyong kaibigan, Narcaranza, pansamantalang nagpapaalam. Sa Roma 15:13, pagpalain kanawa ng Diyos ng pag-asa, ng buong kagalakan at kapayapaan.
ちらは日経ラジオ社短波放送ラジオ日経第一です。これで本日の放送を終了いたします。JOZP6.055MHz 空中線電力 50kW JOZ43.925MHz 空中線電力 10kW でお送りいたしました。こちらは日経ラジオ社短波放送ラジオ日経第一です。これで本日の放送を終了いたします。
Filipinos a mile a minute to provide real news and information, talk, music, and entertainment. Radyo Pilipinas, worldwide.
World News in 5. News and developments making headlines around the world in 5 minutes. World News in 5. Here on Radyo Pilipinas Worldwide.
This is World News in 5 here on Radyo Pilipinas Worldwide. A spokesperson for the Ethiopia's rebellious group says at least 56 civilians were killed in a government airstrike at a camp for displaced people in the northwestern Tigray region over the weekend. In a post on his Twitter account, Tigray People's Liberation Front or TPLF spokesperson Getachew Reda said a government drone targeted an internally displaced people or IDP camp in the Tigrayan town of Tidabit late Friday night, killing at least 56 civilians. A report by news agency Reuters citing 2 aid workers confirmed the attack and said 30 others were injured. There is no immediate comment from the Ethiopian government or the military. The government has previously denied targeting civilians in the more than a year conflict with the TPLF. One of the aid workers said some of the victims were brought to Shire Suhul General Hospital for treatment. The workers said the camp hosts many old women and children. The report of airstrike in the Tidabit came a day after the Ethiopian government freed several opposition leaders from prison, including some TPLF officials, and said it would begin dialogue with political opponents to foster reconciliation. The conflict, which started in November 2020, has killed tens of thousands of lives and displaced more than 2 million people, according to the United Nations Refugee Agency.
World News in 5. Here on Radyo Pilipinas Worldwide.
In our news, at least 22 people, including 10 children, died in northern Pakistan over the weekend after being stuck in their vehicles overnight during a heavy snowstorm. According to reports citing local authorities, the tragedy happened in the area of the Muri Hills Resort, where thousands of tourists flocked to enjoy the snow. Pakistan's Interior Minister Sheikh Rashid Ahmed said more than 4 feet of snow fell in the area overnight Friday and early Saturday, trapping thousands of cars on roadways. Authorities said most of the victims who were stuck inside their cars died due to hypothermia. Over the weekend, additional forces from the government and paramilitary were deployed in the area to help in the rescue operations. Authorities also announced the closure of all roads leading to the resort to stop any further influx of tourists. Prime Minister Imran Khan, in a post on his Twitter account, ordered an inquiry over the tragedy and placed strong regulations to ensure the prevention of such incidents in the future. Meanwhile, in Egypt, at least 16 people were killed and 18 others injured in a traffic accident in the country's Sinai Peninsula over the weekend. In a statement from Egypt's health ministry, the crash took place when a microbus collided with a public transportation bus on a road linking the city of Tor in southern Sinai to the city of Suez. The ministry said it deployed at least 13 ambulances at the site and that the injured were brought to hospitals in southern Sinai. The traffic accidents, mostly caused by speeding, bad roads, or poor enforcement of traffic laws, claimed thousands of lives every year in Egypt.
Local News in 5. Pilipinas worldwide.
More news overseas, the Iranian government over the weekend announced the imposition of sanctions against 51 Americans, many of them from the United States military, over the 2020 killing of General Qasem Soleimani. In a statement carried by local media, Iran's foreign ministry said the 51 Americans had been targeted for their role in the killing of Soleimani and his companions and the promotion of what it called terrorism and violations of fundamental human rights. Soleimani, the commander of Iran's elite Quds force, was killed by a U.S. drone strike in Baghdad, Iraq on January 3, 2020. Those added to Iran's sanctions list included U.S. General Mark Milley and former White House National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien. The latest sanction comes a year after Iran imposed sanctions on former U.S. President Donald Trump and 9 other U.S. officials over what it called terrorist and anti-human rights acts.
World News in 5, here on Radyo Pilipinas Worldwide.
You just heard World News in 5 here on Radyo Pilipinas Worldwide. This is Wayne Peñano. Good day and stay safe.
World News in 5. News and developments making headlines around the world in 5 minutes. World News in 5, here on Radyo Pilipinas Worldwide.
Embracing Filipinos abroad. We are Radyo Pilipinas Worldwide.
います。 KBS ラジオ国際放送 KBS ワールドラジオです。
서울에서 보내드리는 KBS 월드 라디오입니다.
こちらは韓国ソウルからお送りしています。 KBS ラジオ国際放送 KBS ワールドラジオです。
서울에서 보내드리는 KBS 월드 라디오입니다.
こちらは韓国ソウルからお送りしています。 KBS ラジオ国際放送 KBS ワールドラジオです。お送りしているラジオ国際放送 KBS ワールドラジオです。この放送は1時間の番組です。毎日午後5時から 6.155MHz と 7.275MHz、 午後8時から周波の 1170kHz、 そして翌日午前10時から9.580MHz、 午前11時から 11.810MHz でお送りしています。木曜日のニュースをソウルからお伝えします。まずこの時間の主な項目です。
報道話はラジコのタイムフリー機能で1週間以内なら再びお聞きになれます。なおチャージが来る時間に制限がありますので、詳しくはラジコのウェブサイトをご覧ください。名義のない読書家寺田トラスコ作、夏目漱石先生の中国。朗読は斉藤織でした。また次回、名作でお耳にかかりましょう。
ちらは日系ラジオ社短波放送ラジオ日経来日です。これで本日の放送を終了いたします。JOZP 6.055MHz 空中宣伝力 50kW JOZP4 3.945MHz 空中宣伝力 10kW でお送りいたしました。こちらは日系ラジオ社短波放送ラジオ日経来日です。これで本日の放送を終了いたします。
This is TWR, broadcasting from Eswatini. This is TWR, broadcasting from Eswatini. This is TWR, broadcasting from Eswatini. This is TWR, broadcasting from Eswatini.
Ou des suggestions, pouvez-vous à tout après France-World Radio 06 DC 21 31 Vous venez de suivre le mot. Si vous voulez l'écouter, le réécouter, merci www.twr360.org ou vous pouvez simplement télécharger la TWR360 Si vous avez besoin de conseils ou de prières, de contacter notre service de relations avec les auditeurs au plus 225 05 51 49 06.
is the Adventist World Radio, the Voice of Hope, KSDA, Agate Guam. The following program is in English on 12040 kilohertz.
Hello and welcome to Wavescan, the international DX program from Adventist World Radio. Researched and written in Indianapolis by Dr. Adrian Peterson, and produced from the studios of WRMI Shortwave in Okeechobee, Florida. I'm Jeff White. This is edition NWS 673 for release on Sunday, January 16th, 2022. On Wavescan today, the radio spectrum on the South Pacific island of New Caledonia, and our Bangladesh DX report, among other items. Our opening music is from New Caledonia. Recent news reports from the South Pacific indicate that the local citizens on the French island with a Scottish name, New Caledonia, have opted not to proceed any further in the direction of obtaining their independence from the mother country, France, in continental Europe. The independence referendum was conducted throughout New Caledonia on Sunday, December 12th, 2021, and it was the third occasion in which the local citizenry have rejected independence and opted instead to retain their traditional ties with metropolitan France. Here's how Radio France International reported on the recent referendum. You're listening to Wavescan from Adventist World Radio. And now let's go to Salahuddin Dalar in Bangladesh.
Dear listeners and radio hobbyists, welcome you in the January 2022 edition of Bangladesh DX report in Wavescan. This is Salahuddin Dalar from Rajshahi, Bangladesh. Glad to be back and thanks for listening. The receiving log of different radio station, January 1st, 2022. Hope Radio Palau English Service MFC Worldwide program was heard at 0900 UTC on 15680 kHz. The SIU code was 444. Radio Sadaaye Zindagi Al Dhabba Dari program OM Giving Christian lecture was heard at 0900 08 UTC on 15490 kHz. The SIU code was 444. EPBC Radio via IBA Tibetan Christian Religious program was heard at 0912 UTC on 15450 kHz. The SI code was 444. KBS World Radio Korean Service Korean Music was heard at 0915 UTC on 15160 kHz. The SI code was 444. Radio Free Europe Tajik program was heard at 1522 UTC on 9470 kHz. The SIO code was 444. January 2nd, Radio Filipinas English Service report on vaccine update in Philippines was heard at 0235 UTC on 17820 kHz. The SIO code was 454. NSK World Radio Japanese Service OM's presentation of FISAR was heard at 0242 UTC on 17810 kHz. The SIO code was 444. January 3rd, Trans World Radio via Yerevan Hindi Service musical program was heard at 1524 UTC on 9965 kHz. The SIO code was 444. Adventist World Radio via Trincomalee Oriya song was heard at 1535 UTC on 9765 kHz. The SIO code was 454. NSK World Radio via Nauen Japanese Service instrumental music was heard at 1707 UTC on 6000 kHz. The SIO code was 333. January 4th, Ibra Radio via Tashkent Bengali service discussion about use of antibiotics was heard at 1522 UTC on 5895 kHz. The SIO code was 444. Myanmar Radio English News by YL was heard at 1530 UTC on 5985 kHz. The SIO code was 444. January 5th, Radio Azadi via Kuwait Pashto service news about Afghanistan was heard at 0335 UTC on 12140 kHz. The SIO code was 444. Saudi Radio Arabic song by male singer was heard at 1715 UTC on 9650 kHz. The SIO code was 343. TRT English service opening announcement by OM was heard at 1730 UTC on 9660 kHz. The SIO code was 444. January 6th, Radio NUZ Burmese News by OM was heard at 1405 UTC on 11940 kHz. The SIO code was 454. We want to thank Mr. Pradeep Chandra Kundu from Tripura, India for sharing his log with us. If you have any comments and suggestions, and send your reception report to the following email address: dxbangla@gmail.com. dxbangla@gmail.com. Okay, I will come with more DX news in the next edition. Till then, take care. Salahuddin Dollar, Rajshahi, Bangladesh.
Thank you, Salahuddin. Thanks for listening to Wavescan, the international DX program from Adventist World Radio. Researched and written in Indianapolis by Adrian Peterson. And we leave you with more music from New Caledonia. Next week, the radio scene on the outlier islands of New Caledonia in the South Pacific. Also, our Australian DX report from Bob Hopkins. Several QSL cards are available for Wavescan. Send your AWR and KSDA reception reports for Wavescan to the AWR address in Bangkok, Thailand. I'll give you that in a moment. And also to the station your radio is tuned to, WRMI or WWCR or KVLH or Voice of Hope Africa, or to IRRS Italy, or to the AWR relay stations that carry Wavescan. Remember, too, you can send a reception report to the DX reporters when their segment is on the air here in the program. They will also verify with their own colorful QSL card. Return postage and an address label are always appreciated. The email address for AWR QSLs is qsl@awr.org. The postal address for AWR QSL cards is Adventist World Radio, P.O. Box 234, Prakanong. That's Prakanong, Bangkok 10110, Thailand. Again, Adventist World Radio, P.O. Box 234, Prakanong, Bangkok 10110, Thailand. Your email address for other correspondence to Wavescan, not reception reports,
from the beautiful Pacific island of Guam. This is Adventist World Radio, the voice of hope. Now concluding our educational and inspirational programs at 100,000 watts. This station is owned and operated by Adventist Broadcasting Services Incorporated and is part of the Adventist World Radio Network of international broadcast stations. On behalf of the staff and management of Adventist World Radio, I'm Greg Scott, thanking you for joining us.